By the way, I started following Nicole Byer on Twitter.
She's...
Best decision ever.
Do you follow her on Instagram?
Oh, no, I'm gonna
do it.
Her.
She's so funny on Instagram because she's like learning how to pole dance. And so she'll put up like pole dancing pictures, and then she's like rollerblading. She's very like physical with all the things she does. It's hysterical.
I feel like she's like that on Nailed It too.
She came out with a new book.
Yeah, I saw the new book.
Which I kind of want to read, because I'm like, yeah, I get it.
Yeah, looks good.
Sisters who've seen it. We are the sisters who've seen it. Sisters, shooby-dooby-doo-wop, sisters, shooby-dooby-doo-wop, sisters, sisters. Sisters who've seen it.
Welcome back. We're here.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
I feel like we should play like cowboy music. Do you know any?
Down.
Oh, I thought you were gonna. It sounded like the start to Iron Man.
I tried so hard, because you know how there's, I don't know, like 4 notes that replay in the movie over and over. And I tried so hard to just look up that on YouTube, and it was like 15 minutes of me downloading songs that Mose was like, enough. Put your phone away. I was like, I'm sorry.
I feel like I remember a parody of it. So I remember like what it's not.
Oh.
And I was thinking sad. I'm like, wait, that's not right.
No, it's not.
No. All right, so we are the Sisters Who've Seen It, the podcast where 2 sisters who are not movie critics look back on some of our favorites throughout the years through a psychological, ethical, and familial lens. I'm Katie.
I'm Bridget.
No, I couldn't even finish it.
In your magic of editing, you can add that in. No. Because, like, every time those 2 were together, it was like, I was like, okay, we get it.
It's like there's
get it.
Just one guy with a little banjo following them around. You're like,
yeah,
go
like,
away, please.
The Jiminy Cricket of cowboys. He's just like ding, ding, ding. Also, it was like, dude, they were like the main actors in the movie. We get it,
right? Like we know.
All
right. Well, let's introduce our movie for the listeners. So, do you want me to do it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Do it.
All right. So our movie this week is Brokeback Mountain, which, okay,
2005.
So I suggested this for you because it's a drama romance. Dromance. I don't know. Anyway,
it was kind of like a bro dromance.
Okay, but Bridget, I think this is another one of those movies that I thought I've seen before, and then I watched it and I'm like, oh, definitely haven't seen this whole thing. I cried a lot. Wow.
Really?
Oh my God, this was the saddest movie we've watched so far on this show. Yeah.
Really? Because you cried a lot in Babe, too.
Well, I mean, let's not exaggerate. I mean, he only almost gets murdered once in that. But, like, geez, this was just... this was really sad.
I'm going to say something controversial, Kate.
Okay.
I was kind of bored.
Okay.
Okay, the movie was 2 hours.
It was...
and 15 minutes.
Yeah, it was very long.
And it could have been an hour and a half.
That I agree with.
The scenes that were captivating were incredible.
Yeah.
But there were a lot of lulls to the point I started playing on Instagram. And I was like, oh my God, I have to watch this movie.
Oh God. Yeah, well, I agree. It was definitely kind of drawn out a little bit. And like the second half, I was like, all right, this is a lot.
Yeah, right?
Like the beginning, I didn't feel that way. And then second half, which probably was like most of it, to be honest, just felt, it was long.
This is like my theory on Rocky, or not theory, my realization of like, oh my God, he only fights for like, he only like trains and fights for like 20 minutes of the movie. Brokeback Mountain, like they're only in the mountains doing their thing, falling in love for like 30 minutes, 20 minutes.
Whoa, it had to be more than 20 minutes. There's no way.
I'm just
I don't know. We could probably look that up,
but...
All right. Well, do you want to give the synopsis first?
Off the top of my head. Okay. I'm pumping myself up. What would Heath say in this? No.
He would mumble.
very like, listen up.
I was like, what?
Listen up.
Do I need the subtitles? My God.
It is about, it's set in the 1960s in Wyoming, and, you know, I would assume when I say Wyoming, most towns are pretty desolate area, and you meet these two leading roles, Heath Ledger, Jake Gyllenhaal, Ennis, is that his name?
Okay, so I wrote the wrong names, so I don't know the answer.
Jack Twist was Jake Gyllenhaal.
I wrote him as Jake, so figured out as Jack later.
Okay, we'll call him Jack and Heath. I
called Heath Andy. So
not. It was like Ennis, like E-N-N-E.
Yeah, so I'm gonna need some corrections when I say it.
So we'll just stick to their real name. So they're trying to get a job for the summer, and part of the job is herding sheep in Brokeback Mountain. So they are just camping and taking these sheep from like one area to a completely other side of the mountains, and in the midst of it they fall in love. But it's the 1960s and it's Wyoming, and homophobia is very, very rampant and terrifying, and they're coming to terms with what this is and not really knowing what to do with it, but they start this lifelong romance. But because it's super homophobic, they cannot just go off and run into the sunset. So they go off, find women to marry, have children, and then it takes them through their life. And like I think of the movie The Notebook, but for gay male couples. And what does that look like when you're not allowed to love that person? And yes, there's definitely sad moments you mentioned in the beginning. And yes, I agree with myself that there's boring parts. But all in all, I think it was also launched at a time that this was kind of taboo,
which is
to have a movie this way. Which you're, like, you look back at it and you're like, oh my god, who cares? Right. But I think nobody had really seen like leading actors like that, like making out, and
because it was also like a big budget. It wasn't like an exploitation film purposefully.
Yes.
And I still don't think it is, but like it was, like this was nominated for a lot of Oscars. Should have won more, but here we are. But, you know, I don't know, looking back, I was like, eh.
But at the end, it has kind of a tragic ending where one of them dies, and then the other one's just kind of coping with what could have been and isn't. And yeah, I think it's like a lot about masculinity and homophobia and just kind of being a cowboy out west, and how do all those merge in the 60s.
Yeah.
That's my synopsis. I left out a lot. What do you got?
I don't think you did. I think you hit the themes. So, I guess I'm still not 100% sure on... Okay. Because obviously they hook up and they love each other. I think everybody can agree with that. But then they also end up marrying women, and they're not, like, avoiding women. So,
yeah.
I don't know. I mean...
They wanted to be normal, societal normal.
Right. And they even, like, have a conversation about it where they're like, I don't like guys. And then they're like, I don't either. And you're like, okay, so it's just because you guys are in love. Like, wow, that's super cute. And then it makes you sad later. Like, it made me sad. But just stuff like that. So, like, I feel like it was a little different than, again, movies where it's like, oh, see, they're two gay men and they're in love, because there were different elements where it was like, well, actually, like, they also are intimate with women, and they end up being fathers and, you know, getting married and whatever. So there's, like, pieces of that in there. And again, I think it's because of, like you said, trying to live a normal life, more normal, I guess, during the time. But I just thought it was so sad, because nobody ends up happy. Nobody's happy in this movie. I can't name one person that was happy.
The daughter, who gets married at the end.
Well, that's true. All right, fine. She's happy. But, like, only one? Like, what about the other one? Maybe she's sad.
Yeah, this is kind of a downer movie.
Yeah, I'm like, Jesus, people.
And how about in the beginning, Randy Quaid? Cousin Eddie.
Okay, wait. There were so many famous
I was like,
people.
What? There were so many famous people.
Randy Quaid.
Anna Faris.
David Harbour. Do you watch Stranger Things?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was David Harbour. I was like,
yeah. The one that played Thelma, who I can't think of.
Linda Cardellini.
Yes.
I love her.
Anne Hathaway.
Yeah.
Michelle Williams.
Yeah. It's insane. There's probably more that I forget. My God.
There's a lot of... I was like, whoa.
The Randy Quaid one, I wrote a comment that was like, Randy Quaid, what the...
I wrote Cousin Eddie.
Oh my God, Cousin Eddie. Yeah, he was rude. Didn't like him. He, like, didn't explain the job very well to them.
No, I still didn't get it. I was like, what are we doing with sheep?
And then neither of them asked any questions. And then they left. And I was like, do we know what the job is? 'Cause I don't think you do, and nobody knows. And it was still confusing when they were out there. Because it wasn't like... I guess they were just watching sheep, but, like, what are the sheep used for? Because nobody did anything with the sheep. So
I think they just had to get them from one side of the mountain to the other, because I guess they can't, I don't know, driving all those sheep would just take too many trips, and
so it was they were
stupid
physically moving them? Because I kind of got the sense they were in the same spot, like, most of the time. I felt like they were just in the same part of the mountain. I didn't even think they were moving.
They went through the entire mountain.
Yeah, but, like... There were times where they were in the same spot. I don't know.
No, I think they were, like, going and camping at all those different places.
Oh.
Yeah.
So weird.
Because then remember at the end they count, like, okay, how many did you save or how many did you lose? And, you know, Cousin Eddie was all a jerk and he's like, less than I thought.
He's like, you guys suck. I was like, you suck. You don't answer questions that nobody asks. My God.
You didn't give a proper job description, Randy Quaid.
He also, like, when he comes to the trailer or whatever that they're waiting at, he literally speeds so fast into his parking spot that I, like, clutched my seat and was like, whoa, my God, relax there, buddy. But then he was, like, a chill weirdo, and I was like, okay, so you... What? Like, I'm confused. I don't...
There was a lot of, like, masculinity going on. A lot of, like, I'm a rugged, tough cowboy. Oh, my fun fact. The director, Ang Lee,
yes,
he thought Jake Gyllenhaal was a perfect cast, but he thought he was, like, a little soft. So he sent him to cowboy camp.
What? I want to go.
And he had to, like, rope things and cut wood and, like, be, like, rugged. And then he was like, you didn't have to do that with Heath Ledger because, like, Heath Ledger grew up in, like, a farm in Australia and was pretty much rugged. I was like, how embarrassing for Jake Gyllenhaal. Awkward.
Heath Ledger,
you can't act as a cowboy.
Heath Ledger grew up as his childhood in 10 Things I Hate About You, so he knows what's up.
Totally.
Let's be real. I loved both of them. I mean, I thought they were so good. And they're so different. Because, you know, again, I thought I knew this movie, and then I didn't know things. But they had such different personalities. And you still liked both of them.
Yeah. And
I liked how they liked each other, and they kind of accepted each other's annoyingness. Because Jake, whatever his real name was in the movie, would...
Jack Twist.
Jack Twist. Whoa, that sounds like a dance move. He'd be like, man, you don't talk much, and, like, was like, didn't like that. And then Heath... Enos? I'm gonna have to bleep that out. I can't say that.
Please keep that. It's Ennis.
Ennis. Lord help us.
So I can't pronounce anything. You can't pronounce anything. No. Why is anyone listening? Why are we doing this?
I don't know.
Why are we talking? We don't know words.
Well, anyway, he was, like, annoyed because Jack was super hyper all the time.
Yes.
Playing his harmonica and hopping around like a crazy dude. But it was cute because they just, I don't know, you, like, saw them, like, kind of get along, and they would laugh at each other. And it didn't feel malicious, and it didn't feel like one was more in it than the other.
Totally.
Even though when they first, bow chicka wow wow, it starts with kind of Jack making the moves. Which, okay.
Yeah,
were you kind of like,
yeah.
Where's this coming from? Because I was.
And where's the foreplay? Why can't we have foreplay?
I mean, they were drunk.
And where's the Sorry, you could beep that out too. But, like, come on. But I mean, come on, right? Like,
they're cowboys.
Camping.
I don't know.
I mean, but they
do.
Find some aloe in the mountains. I don't know. Like, figure it out. But, like, be safe. Am I right?
Definitely.
Sounds like a lot of rough stuff.
Yeah. Well, I just felt like you didn't really see them being, like, flirty. Like, the only...
Like, no kiss.
The only thing that kind of, I guess, like, led up to that was the part where Heath had to, like, he would always go get the food. So he would be the one to go meet some dude in the woods. Just like a weird, how did we schedule this? If we're moving around the mountain, let me know. Anyway, but he would go, like, get the food, and then the one time they got attacked by a bear.
Oof, that was scary.
And we all know, chase away the bears, you gotta make noise, but he didn't do that. And so then he was late, and he got hurt, and when he came back to camp, he was, like, bleeding, and that's when Jake was, like, cleaning it up. That was literally the only thing. Yeah. I was like, oh, okay, I see where this is going, and they're both accepting it and whatever. But there were, like, scenes where, and I'm sure this was done purposefully, maybe, where one of them would be, like, you know, changing, and they're straight up naked behind the other one, but the other one wasn't, like...
naked?
Yeah, but the other one, like, wasn't looking, and then the one who was naked wasn't, like, looking at that. It was just, I don't know, it just seemed kind of, I was like, oh, this is happening now? Like, right now, are you sure? Did I skip a scene? I guess not.
No, so in the beginning, when they first meet outside the trailer, and they're in Randy Quaid's trailer talking about it, Heath looks at Jack, and then he looks away, and then Jack looks at Heath. They're kind of like, okay, who's this guy? I don't know. Like, I paid attention to that. But the rest of it, I was like, we really could have had a little bit of foreplay. We could have used some of that. And it was a little violent, too. It was very like, it's like, okay, you're all alone.
Right, like, let's...
And then it got close to... Again, you could beep this out, a little rapey, because you're like, what's happening? But Jake pulled his arm, so you're like, okay, he wants it.
Right.
I don't know. It was a little, like, much.
Yeah.
Why couldn't they have, like, a slow build-up?
I don't know. That's what I mean. There were parts where they were, like, you saw them bonding, so you saw them, they were, like, hunting, and they were talking, but, like, I talk with a million people that I don't then bow chicka wow wow with, so...
Totally.
I don't know. But once that happened, like, once they... Whatever that happened, then everything else I was believing. It
was cute, and then they would like chase each other around and rough and tumble,
playing naked leapfrog. Stupid Randy Quaid being a sicko watching them little trees.
So rude.
I wrote note being like, who's watching them? This film's really weird. And then I was like, it's you, Randy, again.
Also, I wrote some things because I think this movie was trying, it was, like you said, it was a sad movie, and it was trying to show how homophobic society was and just kind of how sad it is. And right after they have sex for the first time, immediately after the sheep dies.
Was it like symbolism?
Well,
like
I
the death
think it
of
was
innocence or something? Or like
I think
the
it
Bible?
Was like... Yeah, I think there was something to it because he should have gone out and checked for the wolves, and he didn't. Instead, he stayed with him all night, and then a sheep died. So, if you do that, like, bad things will happen. Like, I think there was that reoccurring theme because Heath Ledger's character with that horrific story that hit when he was younger.
Oh my God. I was like, please don't show it, please don't show it, please don't show it. Ah!
Oh my God, yeah.
So scary.
Basically, some man who was gay when Heath Ledger was a kid, the town found out and they just drug him around. We won't talk about how, and killed him brutally because of it. And so he had this, like, attachment of, like, violence and, sex. And I don't know. I felt like that was kind of sprinkled. And I liked that because I didn't see that the first time I watched it. I didn't, like, make that association.
Right.
And even at the final scene, his death.
Oh my God.
Anne Hathaway's talking about how he died and then...
So, like, nonchalant. I was like, can you just try to care? Just once.
God.
As I'm, like, blubbering. I'm like, you didn't care about Jake and Jack. And I don't know his name. My God.
Yeah.
Ugh. Well, I don't know. I just feel like there were not a lot, but there were definitely references to, like, church and
the Pentecost.
Sinning, the Pentecost thing. Which, like,
Pentecost? I was like, what are we talking about right now?
Well, but then he like asked that, and then JJ, he's like, I don't know. And I was like, wait, so why? Okay.
I don't know why, yeah.
And then he says the thing, he's like, I've never sinned in my life. But that scene is before when they get Randy Quaid, if you will. Ew, no, I hate that. Oh, backing it up. No, hate it a lot. Okay, we're gonna ignore that. But then there was a part, like, later in the movie where the wife... Michelle Williams is like, let's go to church social. And he's like, no, that's stupid. Like, church is And you're like,
Ooh.
you don't feel welcome there, which is stupid that you're not able to feel welcome there. But yeah, I mean, I'm glad it wasn't like too big of a theme, because I think I would have got annoyed. It's kind of like you said, I feel like they did it well, where there were little pieces thrown in and you were like, okay, we get the message. Nothing's beating me over the head.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously they have a great time, and then we don't really know how many times they end up being intimate on the mountain.
We don't.
Which, like, okay, let's talk about the mountain name.
Brokeback.
So, like, what came first? Does the story come first, or did the name come first?
I didn't look it up.
I don't know.
I could try to look it up. Oh my god.
Is there a real place called Brokeback Mountain? It just seems like a strange name. Just saying.
I mean, yeah.
Should have called it Broken Heart Mountain, am I right?
Oh!
Jeez.
Snap!
Zing!
The fictional Brokeback Mountain was named to suggest a physical feature after a term used for a sway-backed horse or mule.
Okay.
What?
Okay.
So it doesn't exist. This was made up.
I just think of, like, and I referenced it when I introduced the movie in our last episode, but there have been so many parodies of this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Certainly unwarranted. Again, I think people just kind of gripped onto the idea, but I feel like the name had something to do with it. Like, it's kind of... Because it almost sounds like it's just a little too...
Too close to the theme?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. Like, it could have been, like, From Behind Mountain, you know.
Oh. That's too much. That was probably one of the parody names, let's be honest. Oh, boy.
So, when I looked up how they both kind of felt about the parodies, Heath Ledger was, like, viciously mad about it. And he would not even take, like, any joke. He was like, this is a serious matter. Like, this is a huge issue, and it needs spotlight. And I'm like, oh, Heath, you're just endlessly dreamy.
Like how professional.
He's
also, that's exactly how his
best.
character would have reacted to that, by the way.
So good.
Okay.
So good.
And then Jake, was Jake like, woo! Let's
He was like,
rodeo.
whatever Heath says.
Yeah. I love
a cowboy. What did cowboy camp teach me? But I, honestly... I don't know, I kind of, after the mountain scene, you're like, wow, this is cool. And then they're both like Heath Ledger's like, well, I'm getting married in the fall. And you're like, okay, so you guys just cheat on your...
Cool flex, bro.
Yeah, you're like, okay. And then also, do you remember that scene? It wasn't exactly the Bob scene, but it was like close to it, where
Okay.
Randy Quaid comes and he's like, the job's done, you guys suck,
God.
and it's over. And then Heath Ledger like storms off on his own, and he like sits on top of a ledge of a mountain, like, really far away, and then Jake Gyllenhaal's, like, walking slowly to him, and he's like, are you pouting? And he's like, I need the money! And
Yeah.
I was just like, what? Like, it just felt very, like, wait, now he's a softie? I don't know. He was just always on the struggle bus, like...
Yeah. And there was a lot of references to him being poor.
So many poor references.
Well, he got really mad at JJ, for that. He was like, well, you can come stay with me. I got space if you want to save money. And then he was like, I'm not poor. And you're like, but you just cried about losing money. And
yeah, but you are.
poor.
You are.
Don't be a hero. There were so many times they had, like, not that exact conversation, but, like, a similar one where Jack's like, here's a great idea that would make everyone happy. And then he's like, no. And you're like, okay, so now we're all sad. Great.
So, looking back, I feel like Jake Gyllenhaal kind of got the, like, oh, you're so girly. Like, all the people kind of making fun of it were like, oh, you're so, like, feminine and you're so girly. And now when you watch it, you're like, actually, he was, like, very sane, made excellent points, and pretty much was trying to make the two of them happy. And Heath Ledger was the hot mess. Yeah. But because he looked like this masculine man with his mumbly mouth.
Marbles in the mouth.
Yeah, I feel like looking at it now, I'm like, as you say, JJ had a lot of great points that no one listened to.
Right. I don't know. Neither of them came off like a stereotype. I felt like they were just cowboys, and they were different personalities. Yeah. JJ was like, I want to be in the rodeo, and that's really exciting and high energy, and I'm going to ride a horse and a bull and whatever. And then Heath is like, I'm just going to work and up farm and be poor and sad. And you're like, okay, well, if you want to, I guess. So.
And so with Michelle Williams being his wife, this
and
was
they were married in real life.
This is the movie they met.
Oh,
and like you read all about it and people are like, they super duper duper fell in love.
Oh my god.
Yeah. That's the thing, like when people pass away and you read about their films or their roles, I'm not finding a lot of like negative criticism.
I don't think there was about the movie. I think it was received pretty positively.
But like in my point of view, there were some scenes where I thought he was like a little over the top.
In terms of like being a jerk or
no,
acting?
his acting. Like they leave after the Brokeback Summer, and then he like goes to walk home. And they're saying goodbye, and then he just like goes into that like random barn and loses his shit crying. But I kind of also was like, would you really do that?
I think yes, because he was the personality that was like, everything's inside, everything's being kept inside, and I'm not going to talk about how I feel because I don't feel comfortable with it. And then he just couldn't keep it in anymore. Just exploded.
I know, but it was like really big. Like he went for it.
It was so sad.
Yeah.
Then he yelled at that rando guy. He's like, hey there, cowboys. Like, get away from me.
It's like, get away from me. I talk like this. Yeah. But I think just in general, the whole like having the wives, but not really being into women. I mean, or I got that they were like into women, but not, I don't know.
I kind of felt like Andy was a little more into it. And I got the sense that JJ was just really lonely. Yeah. Because you saw scenes where he was there was like a rodeo clown, and he's like, hey there, clowny, let me buy you a drink. And he's like, gross. I'm like, whoa, it's a free drink, bro. Jesus.
Yeah, you always say yes to that.
Yes,
please.
Come on. And then after that is when Anne Hathaway comes in. She's like...
I don't like her. I don't like her.
I want to like her. I like her in The Devil Wears Prada, but...
We know too much. With our inside scoop. We know too much with our cousin inside scoop.
That's true. We can't talk of that.
We should talk of that.
Oh, okay.
Because we have inside scoop. We will not name names, but someone went to the same theater school as her, Anne Hathaway. And Anne Hathaway did not like that this someone was kicking butt and taking names and heading toward... Oh, and got a famous award that Meryl Streep got in this same college. And so she spread all these rumors and was a big old teenager about all of that.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I used to like her, and I get this sense that she's just kind of... And then I read that the director was like, hey, can you ride horses? And she was like, yes. And she just lied.
Oh.
She couldn't. So then she like tried to learn how to ride horses really fast. And in like the first shoot of whatever, I think she got like thrown off a horse.
Oh,
and
Jesus.
Couldn't even like get it to move or something. And I'm like, I feel like she's one of those people that is really intense
like
about what they're doing. And like, you're kind of like, are you a person or are you a robot? Like, I don't know.
The character she played was like that, where I was like, okay, so your goal, like clearly here's your goal. It's to get married and have a family because you don't need to worry about a job because you come from a rich family and you're very aggressive. And you're just hooking up with the first dude who like looked at you. What? We're like boning in the car, and then you're like, so embarrassing. Anyway, let's have sex. And I'm like, wait, but okay, too much. And she like didn't stick up for him ever when her dad was being a jerk.
Well, I think she like empathized, but yeah, she didn't. I would have like ripped
up. Come on.
I mean, you know how we are with our family. We rip each other apart. We don't take any of that crap.
Yeah, and then even when she's telling the story of how he died, she was just kind of a bitch about it. Like, I was like, are you sad? Or are you like, thank God he's gone? Because I'm like, this is the worst.
I know, which I think the difference, which was really interesting about the two wives, is Anne Hathaway didn't even care to think about, like, are you cheating on me? And this
she didn't.
And that, where Michelle Williams, I mean, that scene where she catches them, I'm just like...
sad.
And it was so sad. And I'm like, wait, so you're not going to, like, say to your husband, hey, I just saw you make out with your best... We're just going to be quiet for, like, 10 years?
Yeah. Like, nothing.
What? And then after you get divorced, and after you marry a new man, you're going to mention it once in the kitchen?
But she doesn't even, like, mention it in a normal person way. She does this weird buildup where she's like, I left you secret notes in your tackle box, and you've never read them. I'm like, why can't you just say you saw him making out? Because, like, it's a little more direct.
Yeah,
So,
I would just be like,
what?
and first of all, she was, like, at the door. She could have literally kicked down the door and be like, yo, you guys are making out.
It's just anything.
What are you doing?
They were, like, 10 feet away from her.
That seemed a little... Do you really have to, like, if you are married to someone else, do you really have to run up and make out with someone?
But he was so happy to see him.
I know he was happy, but it's just...
And he thought he missed his chance in life. They didn't think they were going to see each other again.
Yeah.
And he was drunk. He had, like, 7 beers. I was
like, my God.
There's a lot of beer drinking.
That's a lot of beer.
My God. I mean, I guess it's a coping skill, but it's a not healthy one. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought it was sad because you do see scenes when, like, Heath and Michelle get married and they seem pretty happy, and then like they have children, and then he likes his kids. Like, he's not one of those jerk dads. It's like, ew, like, I hate kids. Like, he did like his kids.
No, he did.
Would pawn them off a little too much.
I didn't like that. I thought he was kind of sexist.
Yeah, well, that was I didn't like that part.
And then he shows up to her job with the kids.
Yeah.
Oh, what?
That was weird.
It was capital R rude, Heath.
Wait, she ended up marrying her boss, right?
Yeah, the grocery store guy.
Okay, because I was like, he's so nice.
She, like, knocked over all the stuff, and he's like, it's okay.
It's like, oh, sweet. Yeah, I don't know. I just felt like as the movie kept going on, and to your point, it was definitely a lot longer than it could have been.
Oh, I wish,
kept getting sadder. Like, every time. I was like, now I'm sad. More sad.
2005. So now we're in the age where, like, no one has attention. So, like, now movies just split from scene to scene to scene. But I just felt like the movie was a little... I didn't need to see every kid be born. I didn't need to see, I don't know, do you want to go to the church function? No, I don't. Like, another fishing trip.
I think what made it longer was the fishing trips.
Yeah, you're like, I get it.
Right, like, you could have kind of done a montage of that, and
yes!
I would have understood... Okay, this is over years that they're getting to see each other once or twice or however many times.
Yeah.
And that's how they're doing it. Yeah.
But they didn't really, like, age either. Did you notice that? I'm like, he's like, we've been doing this for 20 years. I'm like, 20 years? You look like the same person.
JJ grew a mustache.
Who is the makeup artist at this movie?
Bob! Definitely Bob. Oh, boy. Yeah.
If you did it again, I think you could keep all the intense scenes and speed up all of the, I got married and it's a sad life and I don't really even like my wife and I'm just going to cheat. I don't know.
So, okay, I have a question. So, the scene where JJ and Anne go and meet Anna Faris and David Harbour,
yes.
or they know, I don't know if they knew them or I don't know what the heck was happening. And then...
Yeah.
David Harbour is talking with JJ outside on the bench, and he's like, there's a cabin, and nobody's there. Did they, like, hook up?
Okay.
Was that what that was? Because then, the next time you see JJ and Heath together, he's like, oh, I had a thing with this guy's wife, which I'm assuming was Anna Faris, but in my head, I was like, did you have it really with the husband? Were you just saying the wife because you don't want to hurt Heath's feelings because he's very sensitive?
Wow.
What does it mean?
You jumped a lot.
I did because I got the vibe that he was kind of like, it's a secret place. Wink, wink. I'm only telling you. And then when the women come out, we stop talking about it. That was what I got.
Okay. You're right.
Like, everything's
on
secret.
The vibe. You're right on him saying he had a fling with Anna Faris. But I took it like this guy had a vibe with him, but he wasn't biting. And he actually got along with Anna Faris. Because remember, he's like, you want to dance? And I don't think he liked the other guy.
I didn't think he liked Anna Faris. I thought he was just doing that to piss off Anne Hathaway.
Oh, I thought he thought she was fun. Because she just, like, talked a lot and was very bubbly. And he had a lot of energy, too.
Oh, I just thought he was being nice. I didn't think he was, like, into it.
Wow, you really jumped on that theory. And
then
it could
also,
all be true.
Hold on, let me see if I wrote it. Because when stupid Anne is telling the story of how her literal husband died and was murdered and she doesn't care.
Yeah.
I thought she referenced something, or somebody, maybe it was his parents. Like, I thought at the end somebody referenced something about he used to go to a cabin with this And I thought they said Guy, and I thought it was David Harbour.
Oh.
And they told Heath that, because he was kind of like, oh.
Yeah, that could be.
I don't know. I could have totally made that up.
No, I think you're not. I don't think you're wrong on that. Here's what I think is problematic about that. In this film about two gay men, they literally couldn't have any male friendships that weren't gay.
I guess not.
Think about it. The entire film, they had no just like buddies.
Yeah.
Like, why can't they talk to their buddies, like their best buddy friend, and be like, yo, so like, you know, the love of my life, and you know how we can't do it, and you know, like, it just was so isolating.
I mean, I wonder if that was like part of the times, though.
I'm sure it was.
Like, you couldn't talk about stuff like that because everybody was a homophobe.
I know, but like even the guy at the bar that was the clown, he could have just had like, oh, thanks for the beer, man, and just have like a lovely chat. But instead he's like, oh, no thanks, man. It's like, dude, he doesn't come off like he's hitting on you. Like, get over yourself. So I kind of was annoyed by, and then all of a sudden the husband's like, I got a cabin. I'm like, you know, he just wants a friend.
Well, he was so lonely.
I know, he was so lonely. Which is like, when you're in a relationship and you have all these people around you and you're still so lonely, I feel like that's like super sad.
It's so sad. And every time he would go to see Heath, like, he would be so excited. And then there was that one time where Heath was like, I'm babysitting. And I'm like, we couldn't communicate this before we drove like 8 states or however long it is. 14
hours. Yeah. I thought the same thing.
Really weird. And then he drove to Mexico and I didn't know what was happening until I knew what was happening.
Yeah, that happened. He was lonely.
So lonely.
But that, you know what I actually loved that scene. Because I thought, oh my God, he loves him so much, he respects him. And he's like, no, you should hang out with your girls. Yeah. And like, I didn't tell you I was coming.
But then he was sad about it and he cried.
Of course he was sad about it, but he was like sweet. He was respectful about it. Yeah.
It was just one of those movies that, as it kept going on, you're like, maybe there's going to be something. There's going to be some little ray of sunshine. And it was almost like you were standing in the wake zone in the ocean and you just like...
Yeah,
you just kept getting smacked, and you're like, I can't move. I need it, but I can't leave it. Oh my gosh!
And it is his death is quick. It's just a quick postcard,
so sudden, and Anne doesn't care. And
yeah, I know.
So here's my thing, though, because I feel like that scene, I know how it's meant to be, but I almost wonder if it could be interpreted in like 2 different ways, you know? So she's describing it, and she's describing a story how he was changing a tire and it blew up. But as she's talking about that, you see clips of him getting beat up by other men and eventually being killed. But I almost wondered... Because I think the point was that's what really happened, right? But I feel like you could also interpret it as like that was what Heath was thinking, even if that wasn't true. Do you know what I mean?
Because he attributed being gay with violence and just like
and he was the
that was cool. I thought that was trippy. I liked it. You could have whatever opinion you want about it. I was a fan
because he was just so like he was the one more so than JJ that was so afraid of living that lifestyle, and he was like, people look at me funny. Don't people look at you funny? And he was like, people don't look at me funny. Like, you're bugging. And then he was like, come live with me in Texas. And he's like, it's like, again, another good idea. We just pass on. Great.
Jake was full of great ideas. Although, what's funny is you really never see him, like, hang out with his son. What was that about? Like, his son didn't really exist.
I don't know. I feel like his wife didn't care about anything. And then her parents were rude. I just kind of assumed that they were, like, in his life. They were, like, ruling everything, so.
Yeah.
Just sad.
It was sad.
I did like when Heath went to Jack, oh my god, his parents' house. Because it was, even though it was sad, I was like, oh.
Don't you think his mom was a little off?
She was very, like, accepting. Like, did y'all have a talk? The Brokeback Mountain talk. Every
time the camera panned to her, it was like really close up and her eyes were like really big. And I'm like, okay, are you going to murder Heath or help him?
She liked him. She was like...
But she was a little
like,
weirdo.
Welcome. Well, yeah.
She was a little off.
I got the sense that she made the connection. He was the long-lost love. Because either him or the dad... Either her or the dad was like... He kept saying he was going to bring some dude back and, you know, go live on the ranch with some man. And I was like, oh, that's he. Then they could have done that and life would have been great, but here we are.
Here we are, Heath.
Now we're all sad and alone in, where are we? Wyoming? I don't know. Texas? Somewhere.
Somewhere in Wyoming.
Somewhere. And then the wife, he was like, I found this shirt. And she's like, I'll wrap it for you. Get it out of here. I was like,
Again, she was like, you come back anytime. I was like, I don't know. She's in the background
like,
you.
No.
Like, run.
Don't make eye contact with her.
Yeah. Oh my God. And so there's some really good love quotes.
Yeah.
Which is,
why
I
can't
wish I knew
you?
how to quit you.
Oh.
Why don't you let me be?
Yeah. Cute. Did you know what the very last line of the movie was? Because I couldn't understand what he was saying.
No idea.
All right.
Well, it was just that, she wanted the daughter to go to the wedding, and then he was like, oh, I gotta work, and she was, really sad, and then he's like, but I guess I don't have to. And
he was looking at JJ's shirt, and then he says he either says, I'll be back there, I swear, or I'll be there, I swear.
Let me look up.
I don't know. I was like, you finally, are making a good choice. It only took you 40 years. My goodness.
Jack, I swear. That's what he says.
That's it? I didn't even write Jack. Jesus Christ almighty. Okay.
Why don't you like the name Jack?
Because I wrote Jake. And Andy, Andy from Toy Story, that must have been a cowboy in my brain connection because I really thought it was Andy. And it's just Jake and Andy all through my notes. So.
You know what I could have done without is after he divorces Michelle Williams and then all of a sudden he starts to fling with, what's her name?
Linda Cardellini.
I just was like, why are we doing this?
Yeah, that was another scene where you're kind of like, we don't need that.
Yeah, we don't need it. We could have. I wanted this film to be shorter. That's my synopsis.
I feel like that scene might have, or that subplot might have only been in there to ostracize him more because he ends up ghosting her, and she's like, "Why did you ghost me?" And then he ends up leaving the town pretty shortly after that.
Yeah.
So. But also, you could have just not
told
had
her
that, and I would have got it.
Yeah.
I would have understood.
I did think the intense scene when Michelle Williams in the kitchen is basically saying, I know.
Yeah.
I know what you guys are doing, and he, literally almost ripped her arm off.
Oh my God, I hate that.
I thought that was cool, because, someone had to confront him, right?
But it was, sad, and then he storms out, and the kid's like, bye, Dad. He doesn't say bye.
Oh my God. The daughters worshipped him. And I'm like,
yeah.
I mean, he was an okay dad. Right?
Yes. He showed up every 8 months, so that's cool, I guess.
Yeah, way to go. Oh, you're home for a month.
Thank God you're here.
All in all, I think it did wonderful things for the gay community. I think it did wonderful things in terms of normalizing what already exists, is people loving people no matter who they are, in a big movie. And now I think even things like Schitt's Creek, everybody now you get to flirt and be cutesy, and it's less of you have to be over the top gay. So I think all those things are wonderful.
Yeah.
All in all, I just wish it was shorter. They had such good acting, and I think watching it now, it feels slow. And I don't know, there's, I think, nuanced elements of it now. Because the other thing is, it was set in the 60s, but I really didn't feel like I was in the 60s, but I don't know what Wyoming 60s is like.
Yeah, I just felt
that
was
I was distracting.
The West.
The West Cowboys.
With the cowboy. By the way, did you notice that a lot of the time JJ would stand with his hands
oh my God,
gripping his pockets as if they were gun holsters, and I was like, well, that's a cowboy stance if I ever saw one.
I tell you, at cowboy camp, I learned how to stand. We had a whole day where we had to just stand like a cowboy.
Yeah, if there are any cowboys listening, we're not making fun of you. We're laughing with you, right? Okay.
I don't think any cowboys are listening to a movie
be.
podcast about a sister's movie podcast. Stop.
We have listeners in Wyoming, so...
We do?
Yeah.
Where?
I don't know. They're in Wyoming. They listen to us.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, howdy, partner.
Yeehaw! They're and now we're not listening. So great job.
Okay,
anyway.
So did Dad give you any quote?
Okay, so he did not. Anyway.
I don't know if you have anything else to say about the movie, but it was... This is a little bit of a harder movie to talk about.
If we were not on a podcast and this was like a video, the listeners would just see me frowning with a sad face this whole time.
It's kind of a downer podcast episode, because... It would be like talking about The Notebook. Like, how do you talk about a feelings movie?
I don't like that movie.
You don't?
No.
Oh, maybe we should talk about it.
It's on my list for you, so we'll do it.
Oh, Jesus.
Yes. So, but I don't know. I like the movie. It's sad, so I probably wouldn't watch it again unless I wanted to cry.
It is really, really depressing. The writer, the woman that, like, wrote it, Anna Prolix? Oh, Annie. Sorry. Annie, we'll call her Annie.
Annie Oakley?
Yeah, she wrote her story, she was the one that wrote the story about it, and she said that she got all, like, mad after the film because people were so mad it was such a downer of a movie that they were writing her, like, happy endings and how could you make it better and how could you uplift it, and she was so angry about it.
But I think that's the point, is
that's what she was saying.
Yeah,
she was
if you
like,
were
that's
in
the
this
point.
circumstance in that time in America, there wasn't a lot of happy endings.
No.
Which is messed up.
Especially in that area of the world.
Yeah.
And that, that John Wayne, I am man, as a cowboy. It's like, oh my God, it's like the most toxic masculinity archetype ever. A cowboy, right?
Yeah. I feel like when you come home that week, we should do an episode with Dad and let him pick.
Yes! I would love that.
And I feel like he's gonna pick, like, a cowboy movie.
Oh
like,
my God.
Like that.
He'll be
Maybe
like, Blazing Saddles!
Oh my God.
Yeah. But, all in all, just great acting. They did it. They did the thing. They made the movie was the acting, and I don't know, all the women got screwed.
Yep.
And
everyone's sad.
Everyone's sad.
Or dead.
Maybe this is a good episode to listen to when you're like, when you're in a bad mood and then you just double down and listen to sad music and then you just like cry and you're like, I'm just in a bad mood and now I'm just crying and I want to like sit in my bad mood. This is the episode to listen to. Well, are you ready for your movie pick?
Yeah. Which I have been working on a list for you, but
oh my God, the pressure.
Over 200 movies, so we're not
This is going to be like 20 years we've been doing this, Kate. 20 years!
I'm going to grow a mustache like JJ.
Hey, listen, if you can actually figure out how to make us money doing it and we don't need to, like, see people again, maybe I will just move to Wyoming, grow a mustache, and it won't matter.
Woo! Yeah.
I mean, don't tell Mom. Okay. So, the year, 1994.
Ooh.
It's a one-name title.
One name?
One name!
Seal.
And it's not Willow.
Not Willow. We did that already.
It's a comedy, and there's some ties to New Jersey.
Huh.
Yeah.
Is it a name?
Your face looks so ridiculous. What?
Is it a name? Is it like the title name?
Name of what?
Like a person name?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay. Oh, I don't know then.
The director was also the writer and also a character.
Oh, jeez. It better not be Saw, Bridget, or I'm gonna leave.
Adam?
I gotta go.
The movie is Clerks.
Yes! Oh my God. I'm so excited.
Yeah?
Oh my God. I love Clerks.
I knew it.
I'm gonna go to the Quick Stop and buy some chips for the episode.
You could go to like the Jay and Silent Bob store in Red Bank. Is that still a thing?
That's still a thing, but the literal Quick Stop is still a Quick Stop.
Yep.
And it's like down
36,
the street.
right? Yeah. Can you get a big gulp from it and just like roll up for the episode?
Well,
and,
it's
like...
not at a 7-Eleven.
But you know what I mean.
I'll try. We'll see. Wait, have you seen this movie?
I have, but I haven't seen it in a while.
Oh my God. It's an indie movie. I mean, it's comedy, but...
Yeah, but I thought it had your lens of like...
Totally. People either love this movie or they hate it. I wonder where you're gonna fall.
Who knows?
I'm gonna keep my predictions to myself. I'm so excited. I love Kevin Smith. I love him. Not just because he's from Jersey.
But it helps.
But that is a big selling point.
Yeah, totally.
Whoa.
Yeah, so we're gonna pick it back up, people.
I'm gonna buy a Clark shirt. I just decided. I'm gonna do it.
Ooh!
I'm gonna do it.
I mean, you are rocking, like, the J hairstyle.
Bridget!
What? It's cute!
I wish my hair was as blonde as his, because as you can see,
we're all there, girl.
We're turning to the dark side.
I have grays, so I'm one step away from that Jack Twist mustache, so things are going well over here.
I can't get over that's his name. Like, it's like a cereal mascot. Like, we gotta catch Jack Twist and get his ginger snaps. Oh, Jesus. And it'd be like a cowboy theme. Oh, God, I can see it all now.
I love that you called Heath Ledger. Sorry, I'm gonna say it. That you have to
bleep that out again.
I need to find out what his real name was. It was Ennis something.
I can't say it. I called him Andy. A-N-D-Y. Does it rhyme with Enos? It doesn't.
Ennis Del Mar. Boom.
Oh.
Jack Twist and Ennis Del Mar.
Annis. No, it's not Andy.
And Michelle Williams was Alma, which reminded me of Sister Act.
Oh,
hey, Alma, check your battery. Oh, well, I think we did it.
Oh, my gosh.
And I'll tell you, Kate, because it's been longer than 20 years.
Ooh, nanny.
And I just can't quit you.
Oh. I don't remember any other quotes from movies, so I'm going to say the same one. I wish I could quit you.
Well, why don't you?
Oh, my God. Well, this was great. Next week, Clerks. Everybody, it's black and white. Ooh. Love it. Are you clapping? I didn't hear any of that.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Then this thing works. I clapped into the recording, so you can do what you will with that. I really want you to find that piece of music from the movie that they just repeat over and over, and I would actually like you to, like, add it in.
That could be our bleep noise.
Ugh.
Well, listeners, you know what? If you like what we're doing here, we always appreciate a click, like, subscribe, as they say. As the children say, and we just said now, and now we're adults saying what children say. And if you want to leave us a review, and if you don't have anything nice to say, don't leave a review. So, as the saying goes. So, yeah.
And honestly, by the time we get your review, unless you say what episode you liked or didn't like.
Don't say if you didn't like it, we don't like it. No. Mm-mm.
Nothing will be done from our end because
True.
We are so on a different schedule because of COVID, and we basically recorded like 87 episodes before posting them. So right now we're recording this at Christmas. No one knows. It's wild.
We're not, but
All right, you take that out too.
Okay.
All right, I love you.
I love you. I'll see you next week for Clerks.
Clerks. Clerkies.
Woo! All
Toodles.
right.
Love you.
Bye, listeners.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, listeners. Those too.
We love you too.
Wyoming Cowboys. This one's for you. Toodles.
Yeehaw.
Thanks for tuning in to Sisters Who've Seen It. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Stitcher, among other podcasting websites. Or listen on our website at sisterswhoseenit.buzzsprout.com. Also, follow us on Twitter at SistersWhoSeen and on Instagram at SistersWhoSeenIt, all spaced with underscores. See you next week.